So, okay. Just gotta dust her off now. Alright, so, this is our project, and we kind of did it based around Huck's moral development throughout the story. So, the river represents like a journey, and it also represents like Huck's growth throughout the journey. So like it's like a parallel between like a journey and like his like development or growth throughout the story. So we started off with the widow Douglas and Huck Finn. So here it's talking about how the widow Douglas, how he's speaking about how it's rough living with the widow Douglas because he's trying to civilize him with all her regular ways and all her religion and things, and it's like the Last Supper and the little painting in her house. So it's kind of like showing that he already has these morals of like heaven and hell and the right thing to do and always keeping like doing the right thing no matter what. So he already has this in the back of his mind, and this is what he thinks is right and moral and just. And we also see Pat Finn. He's like talking about when he's going off on his rant about the government, and when he's talking about how they gave black people the right to vote. He's talking about how he's never going to vote again because black people can vote now, and like he's showing how he's racist and he's against black people, and how he doesn't think like black people should get the right to vote because they're not people. Like he's showing how this is how he feels about black people, and that's also something that Huck keeps in the back of his head throughout the novel, and something that affects what he thinks is right and what he thinks is just throughout the book. So,
and then we move, oh my goodness, further down onto the island where Huck is now with Jim, and he has the get up and hump yourself there after us. I think that the us is the most important thing in here because it's showing that even though he grew up with this idea of black people are bad, like everyone he's like grown up with is like racist and against it, he still wants to go through this with him. He's putting himself into the equation. Like, we need to stick together to get through this. And down here, it's also more of like he's caring. Huck is caring for Jim, and he's realizing that with what he's been doing, like playing tricks on him and being not the best of a friend, it's not right. Even though Pap has always taught him to not put yourself in a position to make yourself seem lower than other people, and apologizing is like something that he thinks is making yourself lower than. So apologizing for all the tricks that he's played and being not the best to Jim is like a real turning point where he's like, oh, this isn't right and I should do better. Really cool.
So that's when, at the end of his journey, like everyone else says, when he says he'll go to hell for Jim, it shows like his development. Like in the beginning, he never would have thought to go to hell for a black person, but now he realizes what's right and what's wrong, and he's choosing the right way, even though everyone else sees it as the wrong way. Basically.
I have a question. You have is that compass rose there?
Yeah.
Why do you have that there?
Anyways, because like we did like the whole like landscape portrait of like a map, so I wanted to give the effect of like, of like a map. So I thought the compass rose would be a cute detail to like show like the whole like panoramic view of it, and like how it's like kind of representing like the map or the journey that they've been through. And it was like a little cute thing. So, and it was cute, so.
Right.
It's not a question, but I really like your like insiders on like the different places, because I feel like it gives you like people who haven't read the book, it gives them a good example of like what things actually were and where.
And so how does yellow now connect?
Okay, so.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah. I mean, she didn't have yellow on, so it didn't work.
She didn't charge
so.
her phone. Like, that's what it is.
Yeah.
But now it's charged.
She got her phone taken away.
The
so
message will come through.
So. So.
I threw the challenge out there, so I want to make it happen.
Don't even worry about it. So Huck and Jim always travel during the night. So that's like where their like journey is. So to show contrast, because like yellow was sun and light, we wore yellow to show contrast from the nighttime.
And they're together.
Yeah, like Huck and
Going
Jim.
through this
Oh my
journey
god! Everything.
So, that's pretty good. So I'm going to ask some of the other questions. So I see some other arrows in there. So I'm just wondering if did you have some other places
No,
that
we
you
just
were
kind of
going to
like,
add
well,
other thing or could add?
well, yeah, we could. Yeah, it's like a whole. Yeah, it's like directions so you could follow their journey too. No, but like it's like all the stops that they went at. So like I marked them because
Okay.
like they didn't like actually like go down this thing and they didn't like because they stopped at some places. So I didn't want it to look like they just like went down this river and didn't stop anywhere. So I kind of drew arrows like where they like got off to land and stuff like that because I didn't want it to seem like they were just like going down the river the whole entire time.
So just as a follow-up, because a similar question that I asked before. So was there and again, well, I mean, in terms of theme, what were you guys going for with this?
So like we wanted to show at the beginning how like when they're like all like knitted into society how they have all these different morals, but when they're separated from society and away from society and it's only them two together, they without like society's influence they
can band together.
yeah, and it's like it kind of clears their head and to see what is actually right and that black people are human beings too and they deserve the same treatment. So when you're away from society and you don't have the same influences from society, you kind of get a more clear image about how people should be treated. And so like I wanted to show that because like at the beginning they're both on land and then it's like they slowly progress to going on the ocean and then through the river.
Mm-hmm.
So they slowly progress to going through the river and that's how like it's more like changing and they're like drifting to another path or way of thinking.
Okay. So the river represents a journey.
Yeah. Both like physical journey and like mental journey.
Good. A lot of softballs.